Good evening, friends. My name is Abhishek Maule. Well, I'm just a common citizen, just like all of you, and I'm an Indian citizen, like all of you people, and who has his own ups and downs, and I'm leading a normal life. Reason I'm addressing you this message is, if you are aware about our social issues, our life that is going on in India for an average man, you would understand very easily and quickly that even for basic services such as getting a police complaint registered or an FIR issued, or going to a public office and getting your work done, or going to any place which requires your redressal by a public authority, you would face several consequences such as delay and apathy from bureaucrats, and there's an inordinate delay in that process, and sometimes your issues are not at all addressed. What I would like to say here is that, why do you think that this is happening? Why do you think this apathy of bureaucrats, apathy of elected representatives, and apathy of people in general is happening? Because a basic problem in India, in Indian system, is that we do not have decentralization of power. As on date, how law stands in India and what practices is being done in India is that every 5 years we have an election, and we elect uh, our leaders, our members of parliament, and legislative assembly members. But thereafter, what happens? For any normal issue, for any public grievance, when you go to an office, when you start asking for redressal of your grievance, they do not take you seriously, as though you don't exist, or you are not required in this office, or your presence is not appreciated in this office. And even if they do your job, they think that as though they are doing a favor to you, which is not what you expected. Being a taxpayer and contributing to growth of this nation, as well as its economy, as well as contributing to the society, you would have expected a better treatment. But why does this happen? Why is it happening? Did you any time question this? Well, my friends, main reason for this is that, since we do not have decentralization of power, or in better terms, if I would call it, if we do not have direct democracy, we have this kind of attitude, because leaders think that after every 5 years they can come and ask a common man or common people vote, and then they could take their vote, and after that they can forget whatever common man's wishes are there, or whatever his grievances are there. They are just kept in a cold storage, and they are forgotten away. And this cycle keeps on going for every 5 years, because election has become a business. Election has become a business to get elected, and then forget about people's issues, common man's problems, and thereafter carry on. Now, who do you think suffers most in this? I think personally, middle class of India is suffering most, because rich people, there's a well documented research, if I'm not mistaken, that rich people always get their requirements addressed by, or their grievances addressed by, elected leaders, because they have a much more say in India's working government working than other classes of people. Poor people, or poor class, as in, if I say, they are they are okay if they get their basic needs, like if they get food grains, if they get food to eat, and if they get here or there a free scheme in which they get a free gas cylinder or some amount of money, then they are okay with it. But what about middle class, which toils, which is one of the most essential and important pillar of this country, which contributes, and without its existence this country's whole government system can uh, be shaken very easily, because It is the middle class which is working hard. It is middle class which is contributing a lot in terms of intellectual enhancement of this nation, but it is not getting its proper appreciation, because as on date politicians are using middle class to rob it by taxes and distribute it in poor, and at same time they are they want to enjoy power at cost of this middle class. Middle class, what is happening in result is that middle class is suffering. It is paying taxes, but it is not getting appreciated. You don't have a proper bureaucratic system which addresses our problems. You don't have a proper healthcare system which addresses our healthcare issues, and we are stuck with this age-old system wherein bureaucracy and corruption is going on unabated, and it would go on unabated. And now, my dear friends, only solution to this problem is that we need to have decentralization of power. For instance, if suppose we are staying in a colony, and we have an issue with our roads and street lights, or with for instance for our sewerage system or drinking water. As on date, we have to just go around a concerned or a bureaucrat who might listen or not. Then we have to go and approach an elected representatives who again might listen or not, because he's there for another 5 years. Bureaucrat is there till 60 years. He's not going to retire so soon, so he's taken care of. And when you go to minister, he also says, I'm taken care of for 5 years. He may or may not listen. So now what do? We are now stuck, because we have voted for a party and for a leader, but he is not ready to do the work or responsibilities which he had promised earlier to take discharge. Now, in this instance, if I say that if we are given direct democracy in the same mechanism, if powers are decentralized, and for every colony there's a fund allocated, say about 5 crores or 2 crores for instance, and we have a right to utilize those funds in a manner which we feel appropriate for our colony. Like if we have a bad road, we can all vote together in a colony and ask for a new road, and that could be monitored by ourselves. Or if we have a bad street light system, we can vote for it and get a proper street light system installed out of those funds and by our own voting. And if you have a bad drinking water sewerage system, we can even get it repaired by using those funds, because we have been allocated. Now, my dear friends, if you want to have the system put in place, then we will have to join all, I would say all people who are interested in progress and development of this nation are should join me on this channel, and we will all take this India together. And and please, my friends, whoever are from what I would like to say is that whoever are from poor class also, they have also quite number of problems, but they are also sufferers. And we can address both our poor class and middle class, which are the neglected classes of this country's problems, by getting together in this forum. And I would like to say that even there are a lot of disasters that have happened because of this centralization of power. For instance, China invaded India in 1962, and we had a war. But many of us don't know that in 1952, already China had invaded India, and Nehru was not aware about it. And Chinese were building roads, but Nehru was never aware about it, that in his own territory roads were being built. And by the time he realized in 1962 that China had occupied Indian territory, a large amount of Indian territory was occupied, and when he waged a war, we still could not make it better, because centralization of leadership means information does not pass accurately and correctly or speedily to people who are making decision at the topmost point. And sometimes top leaders also fail to take notice of issues that are happening at lower end, and they think that it is not a major issue until it becomes one. And there are several instances, like how our healthcare system has been neglected for 75 years, our education system has been neglected for so many years, and there are a lot of issues that have never been addressed by the centralized leadership. So for this reason, we all need to get together, my dear friends, my dear Indian friends, my dear Indian citizens. I promise you that if we all get together, we can definitely make a change. Let us all unite together for betterment of Indian society, and for betterment of our country, for betterment of our lives. Because when our nation progresses, we will progress, and when we all progress together, our nation will definitely progress. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.